From St. Gabriel's Girls, the story of Girl X. Changed names, still wrong. No knowing. I can't recall my age or who I was when Queen Lady told me she suffered from depression. This fracture within my memory, the inability to know when in my lifetime collided with her admission, has nothing to do with being confused. Simply, I cannot tell you my age then, or my name, because they were changed many times during my early years. Even birthday celebrations were not mine to cherish. They never happened. I was legitimized instead at the age of 16, and just by happenstance, by a borrowed birth certificate from a dead sibling, I think. This uncertainty is a thing of my life, and since I've never been told the truth I can claim as real, I have given one to myself. I am Girl X. I was a junior in high school and trying to get a summer job when I realized there was no more getting around the documentation thing. I asked Queen Lady, but her brush-off was as swift as a flick of cigarette to wind from the driver's side of her silvery blue 1980 Benz. The car had been a gift to herself for hosting 4 years of weekend card parties and selling fish dinners in the grand dining room of her 1930s Victorian revival. The monument was a magnificent spectacle. On the side of Demere Street, so close to the Stratford line that her patrons nearly forgot they were really just in Bridgeport. Queen Lady had hustled $49,000 in tax-invisible Jacksons, Grants, and Franklins from her card-playing guests, and 17 McKinleys from a flashy Westport big shot during that season in her life. She'd stuffed a brilliantly colored quilt of rectangular mazes with 95 stacks of dollar bills and hung it above the fireplace in the parlor. She cut her eyes away from its admirers each time a mention of its richness was made. And on the second row of her basement canning shelf, she'd hidden 30 jars of those cherished quarters grown men stow away in large sums like pots of gold, right behind her peaches and pickled beans. Part of the money she used to cover the mortgage and feed the boiler its monthly supply of oil, which was a large but necessary expense to tame the voracious New England chill that overtook the weather stripping around the windows and the rolled towels at the base of doors. She used a little more to cover graduate school expenses left over after scholarships and grants, because Queen Lady doesn't believe in loans. She hasn't a drop of apprehension, however, about deception. On paper, student Queen Lady was broke, but her real-life hustler self could afford the upkeep on her mansion and still have enough to plunk down a good bit on her precious Mercedes, which she kept tucked away in the rear garage while she took the bus to college 4 times a week. Things earned under the table were best hidden from view, she'd say, which was why we lived in an extravagant home in the best part of Bridgeport, and she commuted across its borders into the suburbs for school. "What does a birth certificate have to do with getting a job?" Queen Lady snapped the day I pressed for a copy of mine. Her reaction was not a question, but a warning to back off. I did. Worse then was the spectacle of trying to retrieve the thing myself from vital records, where a supervisor interrogated me before telling her employee to give me what I'd asked for. The female clerk unhinged something from a stack of papers filed under Queen Lady's name, not mine, made some changes, and handed me a copy with a saddened and caring look that felt like arms wrapped in mourning about my neck. Once I had the damn paper in my hands, I noticed the faint imprint of a death certificate, printed right to left on the birth record, as if it had been pressed against it before the ink had dried. Child with my name born October 9th, 1963, left to right. Child with my name died October 11th, 1963, right to left, as if I could be both alive and dead. The clerk had to have noticed when she inspected the document before affixing the seal to prove the certificate was authentic. Even today I remember that look on her face, the supervisor's inquisition, and then the okay to give me what I'd come for, and much more than I'd expected. Could it all have been a conspiracy to expose a deception without saying? I should have done something, and at that moment asked questions, called Queen Lady from a payphone, and demanded that she come to the records office and help sort things out, or answer the questions thrust upon me. But I knew she wouldn't come to explain or sort out anything, just as she'd never done the many, many times before. Instead, I'd ignore the glaring discrepancy and focus my attention on the unknown declaration where a father's name should have been. Then I made a trifold of the thing, halved it, and stuck it in my back pocket. Now, after 39 years of understanding nothing for sure, I've learned one thing that's true, and I've known it since the day Queen Lady revealed her secret, that she, a forensic psychologist, believed she could successfully manage her own illness while raising a perfectly normal girl child within a universe solely constructed by her. She was wrong. Holland story, Goosefarm, praiseworthy. On February 27, 1963, Ruth Mitchell gave away everything she had, but she didn't know it. 5 years later, days of sacrificing and nights trying to be a mother student twisted in her gut. Time had seemed so abundant in 1963. Time and love too. But by the 7th year, Ruth admitted to herself there wasn't even enough time to live her own life. She admitted, too, that the love she pledged so freely in 1963 had been nothing more than the fickle admiration that a girl has for a favorite baby doll. The 11th year, there was nothing Ruth could do when the knot in her throat shut out kind words. It was then that her gaze affirmed how much she despised February 27th, 1963. Concetta's story. Background music. Il dolce sueño. The old women on Bokeem Street cried when Concetta Pianto sang each morning, while their men played cards outside Frankie's pizza parlor across the street. There Frankie DeLuca and his son Frankie Jr. kneaded and proofed dough to be divvied up for pizza, bread, and his Hawaiian wife's Italian-style dangajiru. And those men out front who sit every day, just across the street from Concetta's place, looked up only occasionally from their games to watch dolled-up Tito G float O's from his mouth, plentiful as those churned out from a bubble-making machine. No matter how haunting her lyrics, Concetta's Il Dolce Sueño prettied the air, sung out from her kitchen window 2 stories high above the street. The matriarchs, even the ones around the corner on Rockwood and as far away as Zephyr, slow to take them in. and their eyes lowered, as if some sadness slipped between smiles and tugged at their comfortably deep pains. Why did Concetta sing so often? No one ever asked, nor did they query the vibrant bruises tracked downward from her face to her limbs. Her arias should have saved her. At least that's what her mother had taught her. Sing your mad song should a time come when you must, Concetta recalled the lesson. A good man will fall to his knees and never hurt you again. Maybe 6 years ago. Not since. Michael Pianto never learned to be a man, and he wasn't good. Concetta's songs were like shards of glass set to blackboards, screeching jagged words incomprehensible yet enjoyable to the man's sadistic ear. He'd never turn them off. No one ever suggested that he should.